So we're going to start out our tour of the Proposify editor with just sort of a overview of what the geography of this thing is, because if you just boot this up without knowing anything of what's going on, it can seem like there's a lot of buttons. So we're just going to do a quick overview of what each section of this editor does. So over here on the left, we've got what's called the section menu. And what this is a list of the different sections that are inside of your proposal. And sections are sort of like chapters of a book. There are a bunch of pages that are related to each other. So you can see here in Encore, we've got a section for the cover. We've got one for an opening letter. We've got a section farther on for the pricing table, which could go on for several pages, of course. So sections are sort of the broad outline of the structure of your document. And the handy thing about the section menu is that if you want to rearrange your document, you can actually just click and drag a section to a different place. So they really enable you to be able to make large-scale changes to your document really quickly. Moving over to the other side of the screen, we have what's called the Properties panel, and this panel features a whole lot of different settings that change depending on what you have selected. So right now we don't have anything selected, so it's showing us the template details, and that's things like the name of the template, the preview of the price we have, and a few different shortcuts to different design tools. But if we were to select something such as maybe this text box down here, you can see that when we click on it and we get that blue selection box, that means that it's selected. The Properties panel has changed to contain different items. We've got a width and the height property, a background, corners, rotate, an opacity slider, and a few other things. And we can actually use these tools here to edit the properties of this object. So if we made it very tall, you can see over here in the editor that text box has become much taller than it was before. So if you're ever looking for a certain setting, a good place is to click whatever object is related to that setting and check out what's in the Properties panel. And then moving along further to the right, we have the Toolbar. And we're going to go through and talk about each of these tools in their own lesson. But just to sort of run through them real quick, at the top we have the Selection tool, which allows you to click on objects and drag them around and resize them using the handles around the edges. And then next we have the Text tool, which we can use to create new text boxes on the canvas. After that, we have the Image tool that when we click on that, that's going to open up the content library of all the images we have saved. And then from that content library, we'll be able to click and drag images onto the canvas. And next we have the Video tool. And what this does is this creates a frame that you're going to be able to embed a YouTube or Vimeo link inside of, and then people will be able to play that video right there inside of your proposal. After that, we've got the Shape and Line tools, and these, as you might expect, are used to create shapes and lines on your canvas. Up next is the Table tool, and Proposify has two different types of tables. They have content tables, which you are probably familiar with from Word, where it's just a set of cells that you can input data into. But they also have what's called a fee table. And these are a little more structured, but they have a little bit more functionality in that they'll automatically add up the prices of all the lines that you put into it. So these are really good for putting together a pricing sheet for your proposal. And then finally, we have the Signature tool, where we can both add e-signature blocks and form input fields if we need to capture some additional data from our clients. And then the final main landmark of our editor UI actually only shows up when we open up a text box to start to make edits. So I'm going to scroll up to a nice text box here, and I'm going to click to put my cursor inside of it. And you can see that now we've got this new bar along the top, and these are the text formatting tools, and these should be very familiar to you from any word processing program. So we've got font size, color, bold, italic, underline, and strike through, some options for spacing and alignment. You can do ordered list, bulleted list, add a link, and then that last tool, that is an eraser icon, and if you click on this, that will clear any of the formatting that you've applied using the other tools. And you may notice that I skipped over the very first option we have here, which is called paragraph style, and that's because it's the most important. So if we click on this, we'll get a drop-down of all the different type styles that have been built into this template. So obviously we have body for regular text at the beginning, but we also have a selection of different kinds of headings, of different kinds of special call-out text like intro paragraphs, quotes, and small prints, and then a few different types for inside of tables. And if we were to click on one of these headings, let's say intro paragraph, you'll notice that it automatically reformats the paragraph that we have our cursor in. So this is a really quick way to make large changes to the formatting of a set of text. And then very finally, right above where the text formatting tools show up, we have a few options related to our view. So we can zoom the canvas in and out using this dropdown. We can also turn off and on a guide grid if we need that, as we're making very specific adjustments. With full screen, we can hide the section menu and the properties panel and toolbar. And then lastly, we have undo and redo buttons. And that is the overall geography of the editor. In the next lesson, we're going to talk about how you can go about changing the overall look of the template.